people who have read the data that Google has collected on you. What is the most disturbing data they had collected about you? Please consider subscribing if you enjoy the video. My friends used to live opposite a well-known brothel and Google thought I was checking into the brothel every time I visited my friend's house across the street. Needless to say, it was an embarrassing thing for Google to ask me to review while I was showing my family some holiday photos. 5 stars, would visit again. Had this problem when I lived above a sauna brothel for a year. Google Maps decided it must be my place of work. Did you visit often? I mean, it's right downstairs. Had a similar problem when I lived above a restaurant. Every time I took a picture of my cat, Google asked if I wanted to review the restaurant and add the photo to my review. I for one am ready for the AI overlords. Every time I visited my friend's house. Really? Notice the plural. All my searches from years ago when I wasn't on incognito. When I was looking through it, they had all of my voice searches recorded and saved online. I only use voice search when my hands are full or I'm driving. Listening to my voice from years ago searching for really dumb shit while clearly struggling to do whatever I was doing with my hands full is very embarrassing. I do not want those sound clips to exist, so I no longer use voice search. How can you find this info? Go to myactivitygoogle.com. Whoa. They log everything. Even what apps I use and when. Yep. If you use Chrome, then they will also keep track of websites you visit. You can also view your timeline on Google Maps to see places you visited in past, if you keep location on. They also record what you watched on YouTube. They thought I was a 43-year-old woman from Ohio. I'm not. That's what a 43-year-old woman from Ohio would say. I'm from Michigan. Checkmate. Stupid Google doesn't know anything. Google. Write that down. Write that down. Twist. 43 and Canadian from Windsor with a summer home on Pili Island. You can tell she dropped the A. We've been looking for you, Margaret. That I was a plus. Minus 34-year-old male interested in starting a family. I am 17. You probably set a bullshit birth date on one of your Google accounts, LMAO. Yeah, I set mine to 22 to get those sweet Google rewards. Google thinks I'm 42 and gives me ads on YT for a dating site for 40 plus singles. Jesus, they send me so much dating shit. You are either a gamer or watch peen. Once they were showing me ads about child flu medicines. I got home late that night and everyone in the house was sleeping. Next morning I found out that my child actually just had a flu. Google knew before me about it. That one particularly irritates me. Wife and I have a conversation. Get ads about conversation even though we haven't searched for anything. Well, then I must be sleep talking a lot about online gambling, because that's almost exclusively what I get. Apparently I'm sleep talking about boxes with a little tube at the front for your dong. I don't even have a dong. You don't even have a dong. Yet. That's the goal. Propriety media. I work in entertainment, and had been working on a project involving various video files which were shared to me via Google Drive. After the project was over, the show was deleted and we had to ensure we had removed all related media and sign various bits of paperwork to confirm we hadn't kept any data. 4 months later I downloaded my Google data. The file was massive and I wasn't sure why, as it's mostly text. Then I found a video file from the old project that was stashed in my data. Needless to say, I shit myself. Then scrubbed it from my PC and pretended I never saw anything. Involving various video files which were shared to me via Google Drive. That's just terrifying that people consider Google Drive secure. Now think about how many schools use it, how many educators are now working from home, and FERPA laws. Well-wide education has stricter rules about who owns the data and what Google can do with the data than a free account. Welcome to entertainment. All the stupidity of other industry coupled with a lot of diva complex. It's in their terms and conditions. Google owns and can use anything you store, share through their services. My mom's friend stored all her photos in a Google album, and years later saw her old family photo on a billboard while traveling in another country. It was trippy to hear actual voice clips of me using Ask Google on my old Android from a decade ago. Oh god yes, the voice clips. Like 90% of the files were just failed attempts to trigger the voice activation. I sounded so annoyed on a few, no wonder it didn't recognize me. Anyway, I can access these. For myself of course. I found the voice clips too. We use the Google Homes and we had a friend who was staying with us. I found a voice clip of his and nice to hear since he's since passed. Ooh, that's scary. It showed that I went to a casino and lodge a little north from Traverse City that I had never been to. That you don't remember. What happens a little north from Traverse City stays in a little north from Traverse City. That I was a 65-year-old woman living in Allentown, PA, who loved researching the history of capital punishment. I mean, I've researched capital punishment like a few times for school essays condemning it, and I went to a school trip to an amusement park in Allentown. But I for the life of me don't know how they decided that I, an 18-year-old male, was a 65-year-old woman. Google erroneously concluded that I was a bishop performing confirmations. Instead, I'm a church organist providing music for such liturgies. The idiots never had a clue. They should have just checked if he moved diagonally. Idiots. And which colored squares he is stuck on. And did you know if a pawn goes all the way it becomes a queen? And they let kids play it. Where do you find out what they think you are? Locations. Turn that shit off immediately. Who really knows if it's completely off? I'm leaning towards it isn't. Speaking of, how on earth does Google know when I get in my car? I can understand leaving in the morning, same time every day, fine. But I drive multiple vehicles for work and leave sporadically in a 5-hour window. It's never consistent. I'll drive 10 trucks, but the second I get in my truck it tells me how long it's going to take to get home. I'd like to know how it knows. Because your phone is only one piece of the puzzle. There are multiple factors going and Google has invested billions of dollars into this kind of thing. Turning your GPS off won't stop them from know your location via phone either. They can ping cell towers and get rough estimates. They have pattern recognition that eventually predicts your home and work, which routes you take, and what times, your schedule. Think of it like multiple technologies are teaming up to get as much info on you as possible. Hope that helped. Google thinks my car is in Indonesia. I went there on holiday in October. It still says you are parked here. Now that I've typed this they will probably change it up. If you're using an Android phone, they're still tracking you. Even without location on, they're still harvesting your Wi-Fi networks, cell tower data, and Bluetooth connections to build a nice clean profile of your every move. When they take a picture I've taken on my phone, then edit it and is like, hey, look at our edit of your photo. I mean, what the frick? They seriously go through my pictures, find a nice one and Photoshop it? Even if it's AI doing it, it's creepy as frick. Of course it's AI. Yee, but the AI has to categorize it. Oh, better not edit his dong pic, but the nature photo could do. It recognizes what's in a picture, for example nature, and edits it to make the photo more appealing. So in my nature example, it would raise contrast and boost the greens. Definitely the timeline of where I've been. Good old GPS in my phone let Google know exactly where I was standing, when I was standing there, and even drew a line to show where I was walking to. For your information, take this for what you will, but I won a labor law violation lawsuit almost entirely on my Google GPS data. I was a non-exempt salary employee working 90+ hours a week. They weren't tracking my hours, and when I questioned overtime pay for my 50 hours a week they fired me. Also I whistle blew over some health code violations. They tried to claim I worked 40 hours a week and it was my word against theirs. Then I checked my Google data and it showed how I left my house at 5:30 AM and was at their place of employment until 11 PM or later every day. Slam dunk for my lawyers. Good on you for standing up for your rights. It was pretty egregious. This is a right to work state too. They were obviously pretty dumb, as there's only 3 things out of infinite things they can't fire you for: questioning overtime pay, whistleblowing, and discrimination. They literally nailed 3 things they legally can't fire for. Then as they're piecing together their discovery about why I shouldn't be exempt salary even though I never worked more than 40 hours, my lawyer hits them with "by the way," and their tune suddenly changed. Right to work has to do with unions. At will is what you are thinking of. You are correct. That's why I hired a lawyer. How do you get this data? My curiosity is piqued now. My dad mentioned a book while I was scrolling down the YouTube start page on my phone. 1 second later I see a video about that book. I have a friend that works in ad analytics, and he told me how they do it. Basically the company your dad used to buy the book, credit card, PayPal, Apple Pay, etc., sells that transaction data, or sites like Amazon, eBay, or Audible sell the data, which ends up something like Mike bought book a $4.X. Ad companies buy this data. Also, social media and telecom companies sell personal data on how people are connected. They know how people are connected, like how family members are listed on Facebook, phone contacts, and frequencies of interactions on social media accounts. Ad companies buy this data. Finally, the ad companies know that your dad bought a book, or maybe he didn't even buy it. Maybe he just saw an ad for the book. The ad company also knows that you and your dad are related and the frequencies that you communicate. Also based on GPS data. The ad company algorithm sees you as a strong link and sends you the ad as well. It's not that they're listening to conversations. It's that they know so much about our lives that they don't even have to. I saw a video once where a guy ran an experiment about that. He would talk about stuff from outside his phone's earshot. He was recording himself with a basic camera, and then he would surf the web for a bit and see what ads would come up. Then he'd grab his phone, put it on the desk, talk about the same things, and browse the web again. Every time, he would get ads about what he was saying before. It was kinda freaky. The most annoying instance of this I've experienced was when my college roommate was learning German. All my apps, recommendations were in German until she moved out.